So this is called The Skin of Misery, and it's a piece of short fiction. If you were in the drama program, I wouldn't have to tell you who Julian Lamarck is. I wouldn't have to tell you anything about him. In the program, everyone knows who Julian Lamarck is, and everyone knows he's a badass. He weighs maybe 120 pounds, short and skinny, and he dresses like a fag, but he is what he is. New York City hotshot director. I don't know how they feel about him back there, but out here, he scares the crap out of us. So that's the first thing you need to know about Lamarck. We're all scared to death of him. The second thing is, we all love him. We absolutely worship him. He does plays in New York and Paris and everywhere, knows everything. He comes to the university for 3 weeks every fall and does an intensive seminar on stage directing. The department saves up for a year to pay him. It's impossible to get into. There's a waiting list every time. I couldn't get in, not as a student anyway, but I got in as an actor. See, every student in the seminar directs a whole scene, so they need lots of actors. Lamarck watches all the scenes, and at the end he picks the best one. The winner gets to direct the entire play on campus, with Lamarck as co-director. In fact, they're even hard to get into. That's basically what you need to know about Lamarck. Somehow my friend Dimitri got into the seminar. His girlfriend Tisha asked me to go with him and be in his scene. I told her I didn't have time. She said, "Brandon, you have to. You know what's going to happen. You know how Dimitri is. If you're there, you can watch out for him. Please?" It's really hard to say no to Tisha, so I took the part in Dimitri's scene, lead role. I knew it'd take a lot of my time, but I was hoping it'd be worth it. If Dimitri's scene won, I'd get to be in a play with Lamarck. Even if Dimitri didn't win, I could at least pick up some technique, some craft. I didn't get any credits for it, but it was free, so win-win for me. I get to the theater on the first day, and the whole class is scared shitless. I'm not kidding. The students are sitting in the seats, and all of us actors are up on the stage looking down at them. I see their faces, they're petrified. Lamarck isn't even there yet, and they're all looking around, eyes bugging out, knees bouncing, like a bunch of little kids at the dentist office. Every year, Lamarck goes ape shit on somebody. This is one more thing you need to know. Every year during his seminar, Lamarck comes unglued and eats somebody alive. Last year, he told some girl she was wasting his time, that she had no business taking his seminar. He kicked her out, called her a hack. That was the second day in front of everyone. She ran out the door, dropped out of school, and moved home. The university didn't do anything about it. They say no one ever saw her again. Something like this happens every year. They call it getting Lamarcked. When he first came in, I couldn't believe anyone could be scared of him. He's so little and faggy, bald head, little square glasses. But I had to admit that I was actually glad I wasn't in the seminar. It got intense pretty quick. He walked up and down the aisles, yelling at students, right in their faces sometimes, like an army sergeant. You wouldn't think a little guy like him could yell so loud. He'd yell, "Listen up!" and the whole room would flinch at the same time. And on top of that, everyone wants to be the best in class too. Everyone wants their scene to win. So they're showing off, talking big. Every time Lamarck asks a question, everyone raises their hands, like in kindergarten. "Pick me, pick me." Everyone except Dimitri. Tisha was right. He was totally in over his head. He's talking to the girl next to him, laughing. That's how he is. Nothing ever bothers him. But he never pays any attention, so he's always getting himself into trouble. Like when he got stuck in that storm out on the state highway, didn't even have a coat with him. He called Tisha on his cell phone, but the call kept dropping. Then the phone died because it was so cold. She didn't know where he was. No one did. Highway Patrol finally brought him back about 7 the next morning, but all night we were saying, "Where's Dimitri? Did he get back? Has anyone heard?" I have no idea how he got into Lamarck's seminar. Don't get me wrong, Dimitri's a great guy and funny as hell, but you've got to be organized to direct a play. You've got to take charge. Dimitri's not even listening. He's talking to the girl, texting someone. This goes on for a few days, the yelling, the lecturing. Lamarck asks questions. Everyone has a guess. Everyone's wrong. More yelling. He says, "What's the director's most important tool?" Every hand goes up. He's got this real femmy voice, and he says, "What's the director's most important tool? And please answer only if you can do so without making yourself sound stupider than you actually are." Half the hands go down. He points at a girl and says, "You, in the beret, put your hand down for the rest of the day. I haven't even finished my coffee yet, and I'm sick to death of you. You in the red t-shirt, answer the question, but if you mention that little Shakespearean festival thing you were in again, so help me, I will fail you." The actors are up on stage watching all this like some kind of turned around play. We're betting on who's going to get screamed at next, who's going to get Lamarcked. Lamarck walks up and down the theater with his clipboard. We're waiting for him to just smack somebody with it. The students show up early and earlier so they don't have to sit in the aisle seats. Finally, we start performing. The actors have had their scenes for a couple of weeks already. We've got the lines down. Some of us have even started blocking. Dimitri's scene is from a play called The Skin of Misery, some Czechoslovakian playwright, very heavy, very dense, probably the most emotionally loaded part I've ever played. Last summer I played Jerry in Clash by Night at a dinner theater, and it didn't come close to this. I have no idea why Dimitri picked that play. It's the complete opposite of his personality, but we did it. We made it work. So there's two of us in the scene, me and this girl, Brittany. There's another guy in the scene, but he has one line and then he exits. His name is Randall, kind of a loser. Mostly it's me and Brittany. I have way more lines and one really good speech. Brittany's got some good lines too, but she's there for all the wrong reasons. And if you think I'm saying that because she wouldn't sleep with me, I'm not. Yeah, I was laughing my head off with everyone else when Lamarck was giving them the business, but I was serious about our scene. I'm a professional. Brittany's basically in the program because the classes are easy. Me, I want to act professionally. For me, the classes aren't easy. So we're doing our scene, and we're really nailing it, but Dimitri keeps stopping us. Everyone's worn out. Dimitri rubs his eyes, looking like he can barely keep awake. Maintaining the intensity of the scene, the emotion, it's exhausting, especially for me. I'm all over the place, waving my arms and yelling, plus I want our scene to win more than anyone, including Dimitri. So I'm giving it everything I've got, but I can tell Lamarck is getting ready to blow his stack. He's right on the edge, and Dimitri doesn't even know it. Even I'm starting to get scared. I make my entrance for about the 5th time. I come through this door. It's just a door frame with a door, but I bust through it to make my entrance. I say to Britt, "You know what I was looking for, don't you? I only wanted someone to be there for me, someone to wait with me, but you couldn't, could you? Couldn't even wait an hour." Then Brittany has a line, but Dimitri isn't even watching us, and Lamarck jumps up and he goes, "Stop, stop, 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 stop." One extra. "Stop, stop, 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 stop." I know, this is it. This is where Dimitri gets Lamarck. This is where Dimitri gets kicked out of class, drops out of school, and goes back home. Lamarck comes over to Dimitri, crouches in front of his chair, and stares at him in the eyes for the longest time. He says, "Dimitri, I know this is hard for you. I know you're not very smart. But I need you to think for me. I need you to use that tiny little brain and tell me, what is your weakest link here? Of all the things that can go wrong, the set, the actors, the director, what would you say is your weakest link?" Dimitri looks around. Looks down at his notes. It's the storm on the state highway all over again. He's got no gas, no coat, no phone. I'm thinking, damn it, Dimitri, we could have taken this. Lamarck takes a deep breath and lets it out in Dimitri's face. He says, "Let me put it another way so that even you can understand. Who in this scene is your weakest link?" Dimitri says, "Is it me?" Lamarck shakes his head real slow, says, "Guess again." I'm thinking, oh, I get it. He means Brittany, because Randall's out of the scene already, so it can't be him. And how can there be something wrong with the set? There is no set. Then I think, wait a second. Brittany's really only got a couple of good lines, so it can't be her. So it's not Britt, and it's not Randall, and it's not Dimitri. Dimitri bows his head and says, "It's Brandon." And Lamarck stands up and says, "Yes! Yes, yes, yes. It is Brandon. Brandon is the weak link." And he turns to the rest of the class and says, "Everybody got that?" They're already nodding. Every nod in the house nodding. Lamarck looks at me and says, "Brandon, got that?" I nod. Lamarck says, "What are you going to do, Dimitri? He may be a lousy actor, but he's your actor. You're the director. This is your problem. What are you going to do?" Dimitri looks at his notes again, but Lamarck snatches them away and he throws them across the theater. He says, "Dimitri, I want you to watch me. Pay attention." He hops up on the stage and the whole place goes silent. He walks up to me real close and says, "Brandon, who are you?" Obviously, he's trying to set me up. He thinks I'm going to say Brandon, but I say Reza. That's my character's name. I say, "I'm Reza." He says, "Wrong. Who are you?" Now I know it's a trap, so I say, "Brandon?" "Wrong. Who are you?" Now I'm panicking. I say, I don't know. He shouts, exactly. No one knows who you are. You're not doing your job. If you were, I wouldn't have to ask you. I wouldn't have to fly all the way out here to this little piss hole, come up here on stage and ask you to your face. You're supposed to show me. Now, show me who you are. Okay. That's all I could say. He looks at me over the top of his glasses, and it would sound corny if I said he looked right through me, but that's what happened. He has these brown eyes that kind of look like flames around the pupil. He's staring at me, and it feels like he just downloads my whole personality, my whole soul right in that second. He says, you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? It's not really a question, so I don't say anything. He says, all right, take off your shoes. And I look at him like, did I hear that right? He says, your shoes, take them off, come on, come on. I take them off, but believe me, I don't want to because sometimes my feet smell. Sometimes I have a foot odor problem, but I do what he says. I take off my shoes, take off my socks. Then he says, take off your shirt. I take it off. He looks at me some more. Then he says, you know what? Take off your pants. Go ahead, take them off. I don't want to, I really don't. My underwear are gray and sort of see-through in the back because they're worn out. My legs are white, my whole body's white. But here's the thing. I know sometimes people get Lamarcked, but I know there's a breakthrough every year. And people talk about the breakthroughs more than they talk about getting Lamarcked. Like this one kid, Trent Gleason. If you were in the drama program, you'd know who he is too. He took Lamarck's seminar and won with a scene from Long Day's Journey. When they performed it on campus, the dean cried, had tears dripping all down his face. That must have been 5 years ago, and people still talk about it. I could have said no. Even Julian Lamarck can't make a university student get undressed. That'd be like sexual harassment or something. But it feels like this is just an extension of the scene, or that Lamarck and I are playing in a new scene, just the two of us, for the whole class. Everyone's watching. I can feel that attention that actors talk about. It's so quiet. How you can hear, how you can't hear a cough, or even anyone shifting in their seats. I can feel every single pair of eyeballs watching us. I got to be ready for the breakthrough. Dimitri let us down just as much as I did. Lamarck said so himself. It's Dimitri's problem. Dimitri's the director. But I'll take the fall for all of us. I'm a professional. I'm ready. So I take it all off and stand there in my see-through underwear, pale skin. Lamarck starts real quiet and gets louder and louder. He says, Brandon, I want you to forget everything. You're playing this angry and you're playing it big, but it's not about being big or angry. It's about telling us who you are. It's about honesty. I want you to forget the character, forget the anger, forget Dimitri, forget all of it. All I want you to remember are the lines. And he waves me away and goes to sit down. Forget everything. Come in that door and show us who you are. He's sitting in his chair yelling at me. Show us, Brandon. Show us. So I did. I forgot it all. I put everything out of my mind except my lines. I got on the other side of that door and I felt it. Without my clothes, standing on the other side of that freestanding door, I knew who I was. I could be Brandon and Reza. I could show the audience Reza's betrayal and the playwright's betrayal, but it would be the story of my betrayal too. I could show the story of all three of us, like the Holy Trinity. The playwright in Reza, Reza and me embodying all three, speaking in one voice. I burst through the door, practically knock it down. Britt jumps back and I grab her, take her in my arms. We never rehearsed it that way, but I do it anyway. I grab her hard. You know what I was looking for, don't you? I'm talking right in her mouth. You know what I wanted. I wanted someone to be there for me, someone to wait with me, but you couldn't do it, could you? Couldn't even wait an hour. And Britt's eyes pop open. She can't even say her line. Nobody says anything for a long time. Everything's quiet. Then Lamarck says, well, Dimitri, that's just one thing you can try. Thanks.